and still feel like you are one day away from disaster. The dishes are done, the laundry is moving, and everyone is fed. But the systems behind that work are still falling apart. Maintenance keeps life functioning. Progress makes life function better. Let's talk about how to manage both of them.
Are you a mom who dreams of that homestead life you see on Instagram? Who feels called to Christian homemaking? You feel like you'd need an extra 12 hours in your day, along with another set of hands, just to make your home work the way you know it could. Welcome to Simply Living Homestead. I'm Amanda Carlin, wife, mama, homemaker, and milkmaid. I've learned the secret to simplifying my time and homestead so my homemaking supports my family instead of exhausting me, and it makes room for the moments that truly matter. If you're ready to get time back in your day, manage your home with confidence, grow in your homesteading skills, and train your children in the way they should go, grab your pitchfork and planner, friend. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to the homestead. Today we are talking about why you can stay busy all day and still feel like you are never getting ahead. We are going to separate your work into two categories, maintenance work and progress work, and then we will talk about how to make realistic room for both of them, even during a demanding season. This winter, I am preparing to drive a school bus part-time. It's part-time in the sense that you're not getting 40 hours a week. It is a full-time position as far as school bus driving is concerned. If you are a regular listener, you will know that we did not have an episode last week, and that is why. I am in the middle of training. It's been 5 years since I've driven a bus, and they wanted me to get some experience, which I am very glad for. But I am adding another responsibility without removing most of the responsibilities I already have. The farm still needs care, the house still needs care, my family still needs to eat, they need clothes, and they need their consistent routines. My business and my podcast responsibilities are not disappearing. I know that I'm going to have less available time, and I cannot assume I will magically become more efficient once the schedules change. I am working on tightening my morning and evening routines now. I am identifying the maintenance work that keeps our home livable. Things like keeping the dishes moving, keeping the laundry from piling up, clearing the table after supper, resetting the main living spaces, and reaching bedtime at a reasonable time. If I can accomplish those things, I am not going to look at this season and say that I have failed. If I can keep those things mostly under control and mostly sightly if someone was to walk through the door, I have done well this winter. And frankly, a lot of my life has been that recently. Just things keep coming, right? But when a season like this is upon us, that does not leave a lot of time for large projects. And that doesn't mean I'm failing, right? It means that I need an honest picture of what my current responsibilities require and how long that maintenance actually takes. And when I get something like that and I can look and I can see this is what maintaining or maintenance looks like, then I know what time I have left to do other things. Whether that is time with family, fun things, hobby things, or if it's something like finally putting the shelves up in the office, or painting or decorating or fixing a fence, right? Whatever is not urgent but could be considered important, those are the things that you're going to plug in if you have time. But a lot of times for myself, it's very easy to focus on those fun, shiny things like, a new paint or something like that, and go and do those things. And then the maintenance ends up getting forgotten because you don't have your time broken down in such a way where you can do both of them. So that's what we're going to basically be talking about today, is that maintenance keeps life functioning and progress makes life function better. Okay, and you're going to need both. They just have to be treated differently. So the things that we want to think about in our life is we need to identify the two categories of work. We have maintenance work, things that are repeating work that keeps your current life functioning. Dishes, laundry, meals, animal chores, basic cleaning, if you have a business, customer communication, making your lunches to go to work or your kids' lunches to go to school, daily resets so that, your house feels like it's not, crumbling at the seams. Work that will need to be done again tomorrow and next week and the next week and the next. Anyway, you get the point. Okay. So that is maintenance work. Maintenance work exists in basically every aspect or type of aspect. Maintenance work exists inside my job, inside my business. It exists inside my home. It exists anywhere where you have like a structure built into it, right? Even in my bus driving, there is maintenance work. And I'm not just talking sending the bus in to be repaired at the maintenance shop. I'm talking about like sweeping the floor. A very good example of this is my poor bus that I was given this year. We had a lovely gentleman retire, and I got his bus. And unfortunately, he didn't do the maintenance. And by maintenance, I mean that somehow the children had been allowed to have candy on the bus, and I dug an entire grocery sack full of wrappers out from between the seat and the wall. And the floor was in desperate need of being swept. And it wasn't just, it sat all summer swept. It probably hadn't been swept at least the last couple of months of school either. And I know he did an excellent job getting the kids to school. But he failed to do the maintenance work on the bus. And if I fail to do the maintenance work on the bus, that's exactly what's going to happen to my bus too, right? It's going to get very gross. And the same thing will happen in your home. If you don't take the time to clean the plates off the table, then your table is going to have plates on it the next time you want to sit down. And your options are either shove them to the center or eat on top of them or have to do the work then. And none of those options are fun, right? Okay, so now that we really do understand what maintenance work is, let's talk about progress work. So progress work is work that creates something new. Projects that move your home, your farm, or your business forward. Building a better laundry system, reorganizing an inefficient storage area, repairing the fencing, creating a meal planning system, setting up automatic customer communications, completing a garden, a farm, a home, or a business project. These are things that what you might be doing might be working. You're having to do work to maintain something. You have a system. You have a system for something unless you're completely not doing that thing. But it might not be functioning as well as you were hoping that it was functioning, or you might be having to put in more work in the maintenance department than you would like to, or you would have to if you perhaps changed something. Now, sometimes I am very aware that you might just have to set aside time and take it out of something else to make a switch like that. But a lot of times what you can do is if you know how much time your maintenance work takes you, then it is a lot easier to know how much time you have left to do some of those projects. So there's a really important distinction, language today. There's a very important distinction between maintenance work and progress work. Maintenance work is not less important, and progress work is not automatically more valuable, nor is it the other way, right? Progress work is not necessarily less important, and maintenance work is not automatically more valuable. Maintenance projects, maintenance work, is what you already have. It's the things that you're doing to keep things functioning. Progress improves what you will have moving forward. So it's two different areas that you're looking and working towards, right? So now that we understand the difference, let's establish your maintenance baseline. And that's going to be the first thing that you do no matter what you're looking at. Whenever you are looking at your time blocks, you are going to basically have maintenance mode and then progress mode on every one of the time blocks. And sometimes maintenance is going to take up your entire time block. And sometimes you're not going to need to put much maintenance work in at all, and you're going to have a lot of time for progress. Either way, whenever you are thinking about your time blocks, you are going to have to establish your maintenance baseline. Start with the work required to keep life livable. Not necessarily perfect, but livable. Decide what your home genuinely needs each morning, each evening, each time that you are thinking about that time block. What do you need to do, right? And you're going to build those essentials into your existing time zones and routines. Those routines are going to reflect your essentials. You're going to do this in your personal time block. You're going to do this in your home and family time block. You might even do this in your business time block or your work time block, depending on what is there, right? It's important to track how long the work actually takes. You don't want to estimate based on your best day. You want to kind of know, maybe not your worst day, but you want your normal day. And if your normal day is a long ways away from your best day, that's perfectly fine. We want to pay attention to an ordinary day with interruptions and real family life and see how long these things are taking. And then we can ask ourselves some questions. I'm going to just run through these. You can ask them to yourself. They're not in any particular order, but just to think about establishing what your maintenance baseline is. What maintenance tasks are truly essential? What tasks am I doing out of habit rather than necessity? Can something be cut? Which standards belong to this season? If you're entering a really chaotic season, like I am right now, I'm going to have lower standards of what constitutes as clean for myself so that I don't go insane, right? But if you're in a very low demanding season, your standards might be higher, and that's perfectly fine. How much time does my essential maintenance actually require? And that's the key. We need to know how much time you actually need to keep your home, your family, your personal well-being, all of these things. How much time do you actually require? After we've thought through all of that, we want to protect a realistic amount of time for progress. Do not wait until all the maintenance is finished if you need to get something else done. Homemaking, farming, and motherhood do not have a permanent finish line. There is always going to be another meal, another load of laundry, another chore, something else that needs to be done. And progress must be chosen intentionally. Once you know how much time you need to spend realistically, you can then make conscious choices about what you can spend your time on. And sometimes that means that you are going to put something off that you would normally have in your regularly scheduled maintenance so that you have a little bit more time for progress. But if you do that too often, then either you need to be reevaluating, is that thing really important? Or do I need to actually just be taking care of it? Am I, trying to avoid it for some reason? Or these are all things that you can think through. You may not have an entire day for a project. You might only have 20 minutes, but you have time if you choose to find it, and you can then protect it. This is my time that I am going to work on X thing. Any progress counts. Small progress counts. It is so surprising to me. It blows my mind every single time, and it really shouldn't, because it's happened so many times that it really shouldn't blow my mind, but it does. That things don't take me nearly as long. Projects don't take me nearly as long as I think that they're going to take. And so sometimes I have a half hour. Sometimes I even have an hour and I don't do anything because that project's going to take longer. And I'm going to just speak to that real quick. That is not what this episode was about, obviously, but just a real quick note of that. If you feel like your project's going to take you longer than that, find some stopping places, right? I don't drive to Ohio without ever stopping. We have quite a bit stopping places along the way where we stop and we take a break. And just like our 10-hour drive from Iowa to Ohio requires stopping places, your project might also require stopping places. And then my other tip for projects is just to choose one project or maybe two instead of carrying 10 unfinished projects, because that's just going to clutter up your brain, especially if you are in a season where you need all the brain protection that you can have because you need it for other things. You do not need to be carrying 10. If you have 10, you can close some of them. You can take a notebook, you can take a Google Doc, somewhere where you know you're going to be able to go back to it and write down everything you know about where you were at on that project, everything you're thinking about, all the things. Just write it down and then close it. And when you're ready to come back to it, you can come back and read that document and go, oh yeah, I was doing that thing. And then trusting that you're going to remember it, right? There's a certain amount of a skill in that, but that's another episode, of course. The reason we do want to prioritize progress and space for progress is that it reduces future maintenance. It strengthens the systems behind the recurring work. It creates a designated place for items that are constantly being left out. It can simplify a routine that falls apart after one missed day. It can reduce the number of decisions required to complete a task. It can repair the problem that keeps creating extra work. So sometimes it really is important to cut time and protect your time so that you can make the maintenance easier, faster, or more resilient. You are not failing because maintenance takes time. That is a important and noble calling of feeding your family, washing your clothes, caring for animals, and restoring your home. It's valuable. It's valuable work. But you also need to protect time for the work that makes tomorrow easier if you have a season that you can make time for that. You don't need to fit every project into the season. You only need to be honest and identify what fits and choose it intentionally. And even just that choosing intentionally is going to ease up that brain, the brain clutter and all of the little crazies that run wild in your brain, if your brain's anything like mine. So today's action item is to grab a sheet of paper, divide it into 2 columns, and do some brainstorming about what is maintenance and what is progress. Maintenance, write down the routine work that keeps your life functioning, and the progress, write down the projects or system improvements that would make your life better moving forward. And then just pick one of those projects, and in the maintenance side, make sure that those things are all fit into your time zones and your routines and all the things that work with you on a regular basis. If you want, you can come over and share it inside our community. Come share a picture of your work or just talk about it, whatever you need over there. I am over there. I do see the messages and I try my best to respond. So I hope that you have a fabulous day, that you found this episode encouraging, and that maintenance keeps life functioning, but progress makes life function better. And you need to give yourself permission to value both. I'll see you next week.